Good morning, Flint Community School parents, partners, community neighbors, and students and family members. Today is Thursday, November the 19th, 2020, and we are here live on Facebook for our virtual Title I Citywide Parent Meeting for the month of November. This month, our school host will be Nethercutt Elementary, and we will start our meeting with a wonderful introduction and welcome from their wonderful principal, Mrs. Connie Portis Brown. Good morning, Ms. Portis Brown. How are you today?
Good morning, I am well. So I want to welcome everyone to our citywide parent meeting on behalf of our Nethercutt Wildcats. We are so excited to have the privilege to host this meeting and have you join us this morning. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful parent facilitator who is going to take it from here. Thank you. So Ms. Strozier, I see Ms. Brown is on, she's still on the call, but I'm not real sure what her technical problem is.
Well, you know what? I think what we'll do, we'll come back to Ms. Brown, because I know later on in the agenda, all of the family engagement facilitators will get the chance to present. But we certainly thank you for joining us this morning for that beautiful welcome. And we're going to jump straight into our meeting. So we hope you have a rest of your day. We know you got a busy schedule, making sure those scholars over there are ready and everybody's doing NWEA testing. And we want everybody to get off to a wonderful Thursday and have a great rest of your week. So thank you for spending time with us and welcoming us virtually.
Right, thank you.
So next on our agenda, because it's Thanksgiving time, people are starting to get ready for Christmas. And if you have a high school senior or even a junior, a sophomore, or a freshman, you're getting ready to start thinking about those hard questions like, what is my child going to do after high school? What does that look like? But we have the perfect person that is here joining our agenda today. He is a college advisor. He works with Flint Community Schools and he has community ties all over the place. His name is Mr. James Lee, and now he's getting ready to make a special presentation to our parents about learning more about your college FAFSA, preparing for college, and all those great things, including the Flint Promise Scholarship. Good morning, Mr. Lee. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. Do you have my slides ready, or should I just share my screen?
You can go ahead and share your screen. That option should be available for you.
Okay.
If it's not, let me know. We can work through technology.
It says host is disabled screen share for participant.
Give me 1 second. And I think you should be good. Now go ahead and try it again.
Okay. All right. Are we looking good here?
Looks good to me.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. This is Title I Citywide Parent Meeting. This is also my first parent meeting. So thank you for kind of tuning in. So I can start with a little introduction. There's no picture, but I am on video. I am the college advisor from the Michigan College Advising Corps. I work through the University of Michigan Ann Arbor College of Center for Educational Outreach Center. So my name is James Lee, and I go by Mr. Lee at the school. So this is my email, jlee@flintschools.org, if you'd like to contact me with any questions. But my job here is to support every senior and every parent as they go through the senior year and are planning for next steps after high school. And college for me is defined broadly. I stress a college-going culture where students and seniors should be able to go to four-year universities or colleges if they choose to. If not, whatever pathway they choose or want to go into, whether it's community college, like military recruitment, and other options, I'm still there for those students. My line of work doesn't disappear just because a student chooses not to go to a four-year university, although that is what I'm trying to promote. So this presentation is going to be mostly about the Flint Promise and the FAFSA, but I can give you a small rundown of what you can do to prepare your student. So currently this is kind of what seniors are doing. A lot of it is checking in with the counselors, making sure they're on track to graduate. There are some scholars who are interested in pursuing a post-secondary pathway, but they have to make sure that they're graduating, making sure they have credits. And if they don't have the credits, there's credit recovery options. Um, Maintaining a good GPA if they already have one. The other thing, and these are the two bigger ones, is completing the FAFSA and the Flint Promise. So the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. So what that requires is there are requirements I'll talk about later, but basically this is the federal application used to determine like how much scholarships you should be getting solely based on your income level as a family. So with the FAFSA, once it's completed, there's usually a number, it's called the estimated family contribution. That number helps determine exactly your like it helps the colleges and universities determine like your financial aid package once your senior gets accepted into college. And then the other thing is the Flint Promise application, which I encourage all parents and seniors to do. Just because I think everyone should be applying to Mod or UM Flint, just because applying to a local college never hurts. So the Flint Promise is it helps. I think it pays full tuition, but I have more slides on that soon. So that is something to definitely check out and make sure you're in the loop with your senior about what they've been thinking about. The other thing is that they've been working on their college applications and their personal essays that go out to all these colleges. So with the college application, there's also something called the Common App, which is kind of like a central hub for like many different colleges. These applications, they are kind of a little tedious if you have all of them together, but this is something that a student has to do in order to apply to wherever they want. And then with that comes a personal essay, which usually is about a challenge or a difficulty they've had to overcome. The themes are kind of like that. And that's something that they've been preparing as well. And the essays I've read are fantastic. Shout out to my students and seniors at Flint Southwestern. And then the other thing, which is actually probably the most important, the last bullet point, is meeting with me and their counselors. Meeting with me and the counselors ensures that we are on track and we know exactly what's going on with the senior, like where they're gonna head and what their plans are. The number one thing for us is communication, especially in the virtual space. So that's probably the most important point because with everything I said, we will never know what is going on unless we can meet with them. Yeah. So this is kind of what the parents can do. So because this is kind of FAFSA related, number one thing is to assist your senior with their FAFSA, especially by having your 2019 tax returns on hand. So your student should be filling out the 2021 to 2022 FAFSA year because the first year they would enter college would be 2021. So make sure you have your 2019 tax returns. If you filed already, try and have the backlog of it. Maybe if you don't like TurboTax or something like that. If not, just try and file them as soon as possible. Just because the FAFSA runs on a priority deadline for a lot of colleges. So essentially, the quicker you get it done, the higher chance that you'd be able to get more financial aid as opposed to like finishing it up in like May, you know? And the other thing is to communicate with them about your plans and communicate with them your thoughts, right? Sometimes seniors might want to go out of state to somewhere like very far away, but you would prefer them to stay at home. That is something to talk about with your student and kind of have a very close one-on-one saying like, these are my plans, and then having your student share what their plans are so you guys can kind of have a plan together about how the family will go about the college going process. I've had those conversations too, and without communication, it can be a lot harder. But these are the two main things. And then parents can also meet with me or talk with me if they want. My contact information is at the end of the slide. I'll be available, and I love talking to parents because you guys are the main source of how I can know what's going on at home if there's any problems, you know? Okay. So the Flint Promise. So I'm gonna jump right into the Flint Promise. So the Flint Promise is an application you can do online right now. So eligibility wise, you pretty much just have to graduate from a high school within Flint and live in Flint at the time of your graduation. So pretty much like if you're going to Flint High School, you probably qualify. You have to graduate with a 1.8 or higher. So if you're kind of on the line there and you're a senior right now, or if your student's a senior right now, make sure they can try and bump it up to at least a 1.8, because that number, like, you're golden to apply to this. The other thing is they have to complete the FAFSA and maintain the requirements of federal student aid. But basically just make sure you fill out the FAFSA and have that ready to go by the time you apply. And then with that, you also have to be applying to a college or university within Flint. There are 3, that's in the next slide, and be 24 or younger. So these are the 3 colleges and universities that are tied to the Flint Promise. So let's say you apply, the number one thing is making sure you know where it would kind of apply to, like the Flint Promise. So one is Mock Community College. You can go there for 3 years, as long as you earn a degree there. The other one is after earning an associate's and you transfer somewhere like Kettering or Flint, that scholarship extends into those second schools. And then the third one is if you just go straight to Kettering or Flint, you get up to 6 years of the scholarship. And 6 years is a lot of scholarship, not scholarship money, let's say, but there is time you could take in between these years. Like if you want to take a gap year or something like that, like this is the 6 years is a lot of time for you. And the Flint Promise will guarantee that money if you're going to go to college. Let's see. Yeah, and then the other thing is once you apply, let's see, you get the Flint Promise, your student is going to these colleges. The only thing is that they would have to meet the minimum requirements, not only for the initial admission, but also maintaining their position at the university. So if there's no questions about the Flint Promise, be sure to reach out to me if you'd like to. The other thing is just Fafsa Steps as a parent. So number one, of course, is it's like an information gathering step, right? Before you even click on the FAFSA website, which is studentaid.gov, make sure you have all your personal information ready. The FAFSA asks for a lot of parental information. Sometimes it can be a little much, but what it is just it takes your tax return records, it takes your social security number, just because they need that to attach the files that they have in the application to the student and their parent. That is the way they verify that this is like you are the person that is submitting the application. So step one is having your 2019 tax records on file. Just make sure you have with you, whether it's electronic or paper. It is much easier to have them right next to you while you're doing the FAFSA, just because the FAFSA, it'll look like what line for what number, like on your 1040 or 1090 or whatever you have, it'll make you add the numbers there, and it's just easier to kind of have it side by side. Have your social security number ready as well as your senior social security number. So this is pretty much just, like I said, to verify that your information is tied to the application and nobody else's, right? Like each application is unique to each person. If you don't have a social security number, that is also something I can help out with. Just please make sure to connect with me if you have questions there. Step number 2 is making an FSA ID with your senior. So once you actually click on the FAFSA website, you can make an ID number. So that's tied to your SSN, and you'd have to input a little more information to make sure that this is your unique ID for this FAFSA application. It matters the most at the end when you're done and you have to like sign off on the FAFSA and you need that FSA ID. If you have done the FAFSA at any time before, even when you were going to undergrad and you've done it, you will still have an ID on file. So let's say you've done it a while ago, but you don't know your FSA ID, you have to contact the FAFSA Help Center because they'll help you reset it. But if you've done it before, you will have an FSA ID. Best if you do remember, but if you don't, that's totally okay. There are options for you to kind of reset that. And then the third step is You know, open the FAFSA with your student, go through it one by one, look at the information before you submit and make sure it's all correct and all on the right lines. And again, the quicker it is to process, the more likely it is to receive better aid packages. But that's pretty much all I had for financial aid, like Flint Promise and FAFSA. I'm sorry it was a little longer. I'm a little bit wordy. But if you have questions, you can contact me at jlee@flintschools.org. This is my number, like my Flint area code number. And then I have a calendar link. So it's calendly.com/college advisor 2021. There you can just kind of pick a time and it puts it on both of our calendars if you ever do want to meet. Just make sure you put in the notes so I know like who's meeting and whatnot and what you need to meet for. But yeah, that's about all I got. And then I'll give it back to you, Ms. Strozier.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lee, for sharing that very useful information with us. We know that, you know, getting ready for college is a serious task and it takes a lot of steps. But if a parent needed to get in contact with you, they are more than welcome to contact you directly. If they have some other questions and maybe they're not ready for a conversation with you, they want to take those early steps. Parents, make sure you get in contact with your family engagement facilitators at Southwestern Academy, Ms. Curtis and Mrs. Amenue. Those two ladies are amazing. And I'm sure they talk to Mr. Lee all the time. They could probably get to him faster than anybody else. So this is a great resource. And we appreciate you being here today. So next on our agenda is we are going to ask for Miss Sarah and her cooking crew to turn on their camera. We are bringing back some of our favorite people for today, for this month's meeting. As we're getting ready for the holiday, we got more little people trying to help us out in the cooking, in the kitchen. And, you know, with all this time we've been spending at home in quarantine, kids have now elevated beyond just washing potatoes. And so we can certainly learn some new skills from Miss Sarah and her wonderful children. And I wonder what tasty meal they're going to experiment with us for today. Good morning, Miss Sarah. Are you guys ready over there?
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Jake, and I'm 5, and I'm in kindergarten.
Oh, well, he's going to have to give his introduction one more time. Let me spotlight your video. We want to make sure we catch all of that. There you go. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. My name is Jake, and I go to kindergarten.
So this is Jace. He's in kindergarten.
J-A-S-E-J.
And then we have Keegan. He is 7. He's in 2nd grade. And then
7.
and then there's me. So my name is Sarah Duncan. I am a program coordinator with the Crim Fitness Foundation. You can go ahead and start. So we are doing actually 2 recipes today. So I just was kind of thinking about, you know, with the holidays coming up and, you know, the struggle between, you know, wanting to indulge in all of the holiday goodness, but also, you know, try to stay somewhat healthy. So we're doing 2 kind of healthy side options. So one good way of ensuring some healthy options is if you are bringing one of those to wherever you are. So having some trouble with the cream cheese today. So Jace is going to be making some cucumber sandwiches. So we've got some cream cheese, which if you're at the store, there are a lot of options for cream cheese. And so you want to try it now? So like a garden vegetable, or if you do regular cream cheese, you could always add like a seasoning to it. And then he's going to be placing just the cucumber slice on top of the bread once he's done cutting it up. If you're not a bread fan, you can always use some sort of tortilla, soft taco shell, even a cracker, or, you know, a whole grain cracker. So we're looking for a whole grain to get those healthy fibers for our body. And then we have Keegan, who is working on some tomato melts. The recipes are going to be shared with you. This one's adapted a little bit in the recipe from our website, Michigan Harvest of the Month recipe. It's taking a big tomato and kind of slicing it. That can get kind of crazy. So I actually tried with these cherry tomatoes. Number one, they're small. They're easy to cut, but also it's kind of like just like a bite size, right? It's like a I wouldn't say a finger food. You don't want everybody grabbing, but it's already kind of in its own little serving. So easy to separate. So he's cutting those in half. He's scooping out the seeds. That was also a learned trick that I'm passing along. When I first did these, I left kind of the insides in them. And once he starts adding his seasonings and stuff, and that kind of slid out. So he's making these nice little pockets for what he's going to season them with. All right, Jace, you want to cut this into your? No, you can use this knife. All right, so Jace is gonna quarter his bread, so we're gonna cut it. And involving the kids, it might not look exactly how it would be if you did it yourself, but you're not doing it yourself, right? So that's part of it. Is number one, it's sharing the work, but it's also sharing those times together. So Keegan, why don't you start seasoning your tomatoes? So he has some Parmesan. And the cool thing is with the paper plate, or you could do, microwavable plate. If you're gonna, you can put it in a pan to bake it in the oven to kind of melt everything together, or the microwave works just fine. So he started with some Parmesan. He has some Italian dressing. He's just kind of covering, and then we're gonna end with some breadcrumbs, and then we've got some mozzarella cheese he's gonna sprinkle on top.
Can I have some of that?
No, you can't have some of that. You gotta finish this one.
Okay, can I have some? Can I have some of that?
We're not, you probably don't wanna just eat breadcrumbs, but you just heard him. He just said, can I have some of that to eat? So that just shows when your kids are kind of in the kitchen with you, it encourages them to maybe try some of these things that they're working with. So whether it's, do you want to get the cucumbers on there? After you get the cucumber on there. So whether it's just the breadcrumbs, right? They're being brave. They're trying something new. And sometimes that's the biggest challenge, is just getting over that. So whether it's just breadcrumbs they tried new, next time it might be a tomato, next time it might be a cucumber. So just put one on each one. Okay. All right. So it's encouraging. It's encouraging them to try it. It's encouraging them to be a part of it. And, when the recipes are shared, they can say, wow, I did that. I made those for you guys. And so, yeah, the boys always love to dig into the cheese. That's a favorite in our house. Okay, that's enough. And so if you can see Keegan's tomato melts, we would either stick those in the oven to melt everything together, or just in the microwave, and then they'll be nice and ready with a little individual piece. And then Jace did these little cucumber sandwiches. So just a slice of cucumber, some sort of flavored cream cheese, if cream cheese isn't your thing, some other kind of spread, and then some sort of bread or grain on the bottom. So we got 2 holiday sides for you. And then, we'll share those recipes with you. And then if you follow our Facebook page, CrimFit Programs, Creating Healthier Lives, we share a lot of upcoming programs. We have cooking store, virtual store tours that we can do, and just recipes, tips, things like that. So we hope you enjoy. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. Goodbye.
Thank you, Sarah and the Duncan family. We really appreciate you all contributing to our meetings every time we all ask you all to join. So next on our agenda, and you can catch those recipes and all of those good tips that she gave right on our Facebook page. There's links for all the recipes for the Crim Fitness Foundation page. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Catch all the updates that they're giving. And if that's with us going into this Thanksgiving holiday eating season, it's okay to throw in some healthy snacks too. So let's be like the boys and try some things and sprinkle some more mozzarella cheese on stuff. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. We appreciate you all. Next on our agenda, we're going to learn as parents, and Ms. Lisa Ike, one of our instructional specialists with the district, if she could cut her camera on for me. I know I'm ready to learn. Ms. Ike, what do you have for the Flint parents today?
It says that the host
Let's see.
There we go. Now we're on. Hi, I'm Lisa Ike, and I am a district instructional specialist with the district. And I'm going to be sharing my screen. I have put together a couple slides with some information on just some ideas for reading and writing with your child. So let me share that. And as I said, my name is Lisa Ike. I'm a district instructional specialist with the Flint Community Schools, and I support Brownell and DTM. But I can also answer any questions from any other of the schools. We have a team of district instructional specialists, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. The importance of reading and writing with your child in this virtual situation. We've seen this information about reading, the importance of reading 20 minutes a day. I like this graphic because it shows visually in a course of a year, if you would just read 20 minutes with your child at home. And the next slide has some information about different, let me see if my links, keep my fingers crossed that the links work. This is an article, and it has just some really good information on to rethink reading at home, maybe reading to a stuffed animal or a pet. Because sometimes, busy parents don't have the opportunity to sit and listen, but the students can read to a stuffed animal, or they can have a family with this virtual, they can have reading buddies. It could be an aunt that lives in another state, could be a sibling, just to sit down and listen to them read for the 20 minutes. And it's always nice to have the cozy corner. Find a spot, any spot in your house that makes reading a pleasure time. Kids love to look at the instruction manuals if they're into Legos, or if they have a board game that they really like, or the video game instructions. You can always, bring in reading for that. This time of the year, we might be getting some catalogs in the mail. Have them share reading to look through a catalog. Even the cereal boxes, anything that would catch their attention, and then they can share it with you. Let's see. We also, I'm going to be sharing some games. These are 5 games that children love to increase their reading. There's the famous I Spy, and that is going to be increasing their vocabulary. Anytime you talk with a student or your child, then that is going to be increasing and their reading skills. And the best way to do it is through a game. That would be the I Spy game, or bring in rhyming words. I know when my kids were younger, and we were always, if we were in the car, we would be talking about the environmental print. They recognize the Meyer sign, the McDonald's signs. And then there's also a reminder to take turns. And it could be, depending on age appropriate, it could be reading page by page, or maybe a paragraph, or it could be all the way down to a sentence. Just sharing, having that shared experience is building their reading skills. They can help you write, simple as writing a grocery list. We're getting into the holidays, and they can participate, involve them. If you plan a scavenger hunt, have them write out the information, especially if you're going to be doing it with siblings. Write 4 things, and then they have to, the other child would have to read it and then have it time to go find the information, go on a nature walk. I know it's getting to be cold. And then just a do it yourself game. You just involve them and make it fun. As long as, you know, they're reading, there's so many ways you can bring reading into an everyday activity. There is a document that has reading and writing with your child, and this is it's put out by the Canadian government, but it's a really great document, and it's reading and writing with your child, kindergarten through grade 6. And I have to move my peep ball. There we go. And it just has different milestones that the students will be experiencing, and it has some different activities that you can look at. And I will be sharing this the link for that. It's the yumpu.com, and it just has some very valuable information for sharing with your child, reading and writing. Now we're going to move in a little bit to some more activities and suggestions to write with your child. When we are in a virtual situation, the classroom teachers are still going to be following the writing process. And so it's always nice to have those conversations with your child, to ask them, you know, what are you writing about? What process, where are you in the process? The writing process just begins with the pre-writing. That's just brainstorming. Students are writing down any kind of ideas, and they're putting it into an organization. And then when they're drafting, they're just getting the thoughts from their mind to the paper, and they don't worry about the spelling. They just want to get their ideas down. And when I'm in the classroom, when I'm doing some modeling, I always get really excited, and I say, oh, I got this thought in my mind, and it's going through, now it's going to come out, it's going to go through my arm, and it's going to come out my hand, and I just love to get everything down. And so I'm just going to write, and I want to get everything down, because then I'm going to be moving into the revising and the editing. And that's when they polish it and they correct the spelling and they put it into a readable form for their audience. And then the final part is the publishing. And it doesn't have to be every time your piece doesn't have to go all the way through all the process, but that is the writing process. So you would want to find out from your child, have that conversation. Where are they in the writing process? There's many different ways that you can help your child learn to write. From the younger ones, where they're just scribbling and drawing, they may be taking Play-Doh and making letters out of Play-Doh. I know in my house, I have 2 boys. They are now college graduates, but we always had our refrigerator filled with the magnetic letters from the dollar store. And while my husband and I were cooking, we would be giving them maybe a sight word or something to manipulate and make their own words on the refrigerator. So every day, playing with a flashlight or reading with a flashlight, any time that they can identify letters, and then having them making lists and help you, and just then again, that talks about that writing with the purpose. I wanted to also share with you the LakeShoreLearning.com. This is a resource, and there's excellent free resources that are there. it's right here where it's just lakeshorelearning.com, and there's free resources that you can use right now, especially during this time when you are home. And that's a wonderful resource. Again, that's lakeshorelearning.com. Be sure to take a look. I also wanted to share at the Lakeshore Reading, they have for each month, they have writing prompts. This is the November writing prompts. This is all free. For example, today it says, describe your house on Thanksgiving, how it would look, smell, and sound. And that's an excellent springboard to start a conversation that then can turn into a writing, depending on how old your student is. Next week from today is Thanksgiving. And so the writing prompt for next week is to list 10 things that you are thankful for. If you have been to any of the other parent workshops that I've put on, and I love to put on the parent workshops, I've put on about the interactive journals, and we're going to get into that a little bit. When you're working with your child and you're encouraging them, you know, you want to say, let's play a game. Let's, instead of, oh yeah, it's time to write again, because your enthusiasm for writing and reading is going to be reflected into their excitement for it. You want to turn their drawings. Kids love to draw, but then have them maybe start with labeling the parts of their drawing, and then it can turn into sentences, and then it can turn into paragraphs, and then you'll have a written piece. You want to praise often and honestly. Oh my gosh, your penmanship is really improving. I love the way you're remembering when you're writing a sentence about yourself, you're always remembering to capitalize that I. And so you want to do honestly, and you want to do it often. And then, of course, I talked about that before, posting that refrigerator. When your kids are young, that refrigerator the front side of the refrigerator, that belongs to the kids. You want to post any of their work. And I know it's so hard in this virtual because they're not getting papers, they're not bringing papers home for you, but you want to post anything that they work on, that you want to post that on the refrigerator. I have a niece in California, and she is constantly sending me just drawings. And they have a fourth grader and a kindergartner, and I love to get those in the mail. So send them off to family members, and that just builds their self-esteem. You want to have ways that you can encourage writing daily, whether it's a grocery list or that interactive journal that I love so much, or to plan a family fun night. Say you're going to have a game night and you have more than one child. You could have one plan out the refreshments. You could have one write invitations. Even if you live in the same house, it just adds to the evening. It makes it just a special event. And that's fine. That's a daily writing ideas. Now, this is my favorite. If you've been to any of my parent workshops, you know I love this parent interactive journal. It's where you have an interactive experience with your child. You have it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a couple pieces of paper stapled together. I know that when I was DTM, we did a parent workshop, and we actually gave composition spiral notebooks, and just you can ask questions back and forth, and it can be something simple as what is your favorite color? Then you hand it off to your child answers that question, and it's just, you can learn so much about your kids, and it's such a great connection. You can make it fancy. like this picture shows, just between us, Connor and mom. Or it can just be like a regular, like I said, a couple pieces of paper stapled together. It's the experience, it's the learning. You're sharing a part of you with your child. Ask them what their favorite food is. Ask them what their hobbies, things that you think, oh yeah, I'm their mom, I know, but you'll be surprised. And it's just, I just want you to have fun and enjoy the special time with your children. If you have any questions at all, you can find me at l.ike@flintschools.org. I will be around for a little bit. I'll stick around. If you have any questions about in the chat, put it in the chat, and I'll be able to answer it that way. And thank you, Ms. Strozier. I will stop sharing my screen now, and there we go.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ike. I do have one question because it came through last week. Parents were having difficulties with trying to provide a proper testing environment because that's something we knew that we've had to experience. And if you could just speak on that, I know it's a little similar to the environment that we're already providing for children, but since I think other grade levels, some students will have to do some further testing. And when we have to do testing later on this year, what are some tips that parents can hold on to when their child has to do some testing at home in this virtual environment?
Number one, right up at the top, please, please, please do not do the test. Do not help them. This is an experience. This is a time for your student's teacher to get a baseline. We want to know where your child is. And so, and it's okay, because wherever they are is where they are. That is the teachers, that's our responsibility. I always said, when I taught K and 1 for years and years, I looped around. But what I would say to my kids, the first year, I'd say, I'm getting you ready for the next year. I'm getting you ready to move on. And so wherever your child is, and I know it's hard. I was a huge helicopter mom, and I'm sure if I was virtual, I would be right there. But please let them, that we want this. I know it's hard to get a true reflection, but we really want to find out where your child is, because then we can tailor their learning. There's going to be, like Ms. Strozier said, when we come back, and in February, we have January, we have our Christmas break. And then we're going to be doing another set of assessments. And then we have a third set of assessments when we come back from spring break. Please, I know it's very hard, but let the child see, or let the teacher see exactly where your child is. Also, let's make sure that the environment is conducive. If you have a dog, I have a dog here at my house. I let him outside right before I began the session because I didn't want everybody to hear my dog barking. So just try to give your child, if there's the TV, please turn the TV off. If there's a sibling that might be in the same room and they might be tempted to help with the assessment, make sure that there's a discussion ahead of time, that it's, we really want a true reflection of where your child is. I know there was a big, huge problem with pop-ups. We've been dealing with the pop-ups. We have a solution, and they'll work with your teacher to find the pop-up blocker and make sure that that's okay. We also were working on screen resolution. There's things that your teachers and the tech people that are at your building, they will be able to help you either remotely. Sometimes the machines themselves need to be re-imaged or worked on, and so you may be asked to bring the machine back up to the school, but they're willing to help. But if you have any other testing questions, please ask your student's teacher, because we are working NWEA, which is huge, grades we're doing that testing now. And then if you have a student in K3, we're doing the Dibbles assessment. Now, Dibbles assessment's a little bit tricky because that is a one-on-one assessment where the NWEA, which is a longer test, the Dibbles is only a set of, it's a 1-minute assessment. But are there any other questions about, or any other tips, Ms. Strozier, that you have heard from your teachers, your children's teachers?
You know what? I think what we will do, because it's testing will be something that will be an ongoing process, that might be a subject matter that we can poll the parents about and get them to submit some more questions. So that the next time we go around, that we'll be more prepared from the at-home advantage, because I know there were a lot of things between sometimes the internet drop and then the ISD had internet issues and parents were frustrated, like, what's going on? I want my child to do their best. So it's just those little things that we're learning in the process, but we certainly appreciate the support that you all provide us. And like I said, we're learning just like the children are. So thank you for continuing to pour into us so that we can be the best parents we can be at home while trying to provide a safe learning environment. And testing too. We're just constantly adding to this list that parents are doing. So we appreciate the support.
Thank you for your patience, parents, because, and I keep saying the same thing, since March, we are building this boat as we are sailing the boat. And we turn around and the back part is sinking, and we go back and we work really hard to build that up, and then the front. So it's just constant. So thank you so much for your patience when working with your teachers. They, in March, Google Classroom, we didn't know about Google Classroom. And now I'm just so proud of the teachers because they have Google Classrooms. They're up, they're running, they're putting assignments in. Parents are, making sure that their students are on time for their live lessons. And it's a learning process. And we have just done, I think the teachers have done a wonderful job, and so have the parents. So I appreciate everything.
Oh, no problem. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Ms. Ike. We appreciate it.
All righty.
Next on our agenda, we are going to have a presentation and update with what's going on with our friends from community education. And giving us that presentation this month will be the CSD from Eisenhower, Ms. Tanessa Blakely. Good morning, Tanessa. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for the introduction. However, I am the CSD at Nethercutt.
I'm so sorry. All these names and all these schools, but hey, we're all one family. But you can cover us all. Give us an update.
Yes, we're very close. We're not too far from each other, so I could understand why you would say that. Once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be with you guys today and to share what's going on at Nethercutt as far as community education. I also want to say thank you to all the other presenters. I have learned so much today that I'm super excited to be able to share with our families about different things that we might have not addressed. So thank you, Ms. Ike. You took me back. I'm like, the writing process, I do remember that thing. So thank you for sharing all that great information. So I'll try to be as brief as I possibly can. At Nethercutt, we are for community education. Most of you already know that we have 4 major goals that we're trying to accomplish as we partner with the Flint schools. And those goals are to increase attendance, to increase graduation rates, to help with the 3rd grade reading levels in the law, and to also increase neighborhood impact. So at Nethercutt, what we are doing as far as for our attendance, I'm very strategically working with our parent facilitator, Ms. Brown, and our principal, Ms. Portis Brown, and the rest of our support staff with our wellness team to make sure that all families have been contacted if they have not been attending classes daily or on time, or if they're having any issues. And we are working through some solutions to make sure that all of those families, whatever the issue is that's keeping their students from coming on every day or from being on time, that those issues are being addressed. One way that we're trying to make sure that we focus on not just the families who are not there, but we're also focusing on the families who are coming to school and students who are being diligent and making sure that they're on time every day. So community education is supporting that effort by making sure that we have incentives and that we have gifts and prizes to give to those students monthly. We have a program called the Circle of Champions at Nethercutt. And with that program, each month we acknowledge students' behavior, their academics, as well as their attendance. So community education, along with our PBIS team, is making sure that we're recognizing those students and that we're also encouraging and challenging the ones who are not doing the best, because we want to move them forward to make sure they have those same advantages. Next up, for our after school programming with Youthquest, our students at Nethercutt are currently doing after school program with Youthquest Monday through Thursday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. We are still in the process of recruiting more students. So if you happen to have nieces or nephews or cousins or just family friends that might have students at Nethercutt and they're saying, hey, I know that we're virtual right now and our kids don't get to have a lot of socialization with their friends, there is still opportunities for your students to sign up, whether you're at Nethercutt or any of the Flint schools. I know that the Youthquest programs are still recruiting students to get involved. So please check those out, and you can contact your local site team leader at whichever school your students are attending. To follow up behind that, we're doing some amazing things to engage our parents. As I shared, I'm working very closely with Miss Brown, our parent facilitator at Nethercutt, in supporting her as she does her parent facilitation duties and her monthly and weekly meetings with the parents. But we also, through community education, had the opportunity to receive a Families for Life grant. And Ms. Stroger, I know you are familiar with that because you've done that at homes, but at Nethercutt, this is our first year of doing Families for Life, and Miss Brown has so graciously partnered with me to not only work with me in the mornings as her parent facilitator duties, but to work after school with me as a Families for Life coordinator. And right now with the Families for Life program, we have several activities going on, but three of the major activities that we are doing currently and weekly are our parent coffee hour, which happens Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. In that time, our parents come together with us. It is a virtual meeting on Zoom, and our parents are able to log in. They're able to talk with myself and Ms. Brown. Several of our teaching staff and support staff of Nethercutt have also joined that parent coffee hour just to give parents a chance to talk about what's going on, how they're feeling in this virtual setting, and to get, some answers or some encouragement if their students are struggling, if they're struggling as a parent to be able to organize their child in a virtual at home setup for learning. They have that time each week from 6 to 7 to join us to get information, to ask questions, and to just voice their concerns or their excitements, and even if they have accomplished anything, to share with other parents so that the parents have a chance to network and support each other as well. So we're really excited about that. Then we have our parent book club, which happens on Mondays. And the book club is from 5 to 6 p.m. So each of our parents that joins the book club receives a book per month. They're able to read that book as a group and to discuss it and to basically just have some time as parents and as adults, trying to keep things normal, because we know moving into this virtual reality that we have to live in right now, sometimes it just gets a little stressful and it gets a little overwhelming. So we're trying to help parents also still have like some normalcy in their lives and some consistency that can bring them joy and an opportunity to kind of just feel good and to be free. And then the last part of our Families for Life is that we do also have a family game night once a month. And so we have purchased board games which we are able to give out to the Families for Life families, the families who sign up for our Families for Life program. And they receive a new board game each month, and we choose a day, and then those families are able to come on to meet on Zoom as their families. They're able to play those board games and just have a good time, to kind of get away from the structuralness of the virtual schooling and all the stress of parenting and so on and so forth. And they can just hang out and have fun and do something all together as a family. So I'm really excited that we get a chance to do those three things, and we have multiple other things going on. As a part of our Families for Life, the parents really have the opportunity at Nethercutt to tell us what's going on with them, what they're thinking, and how they would like to move forward. And of course, we share with them what is actually possible and, what is appropriate to do. So one of our families, about 2 weeks ago, came to our parent coffee hour and said, "Hey, I know it's so many things going on right now in the world, and specifically within Flint schools and with the community education department, and I love all of that." She was like, "But I was just thinking, like, what can we do to give back?" So this specific parent came up with, she actually saw a flyer or a post about a give back challenge. And so she brought that to our Families for Life team. And she suggested that, why can't we as parents of Flint schools be able to give back to the community as well? So we basically took that challenge and we put that out for the whole Nethercutt community. And so with that parent suggestion, we are doing a holiday give back challenge. We know that there's a lot of resources coming into the city of Flint right now to support specifically our parents and the children who attend our schools. But what about those neighborhood adults? What about those elderly people in the community that also could use some assistance? So we have a Nethercutt holiday give back challenge, fill a box. So our parents and teaching staff who have decided to participate will be filling a box. We have a list of items, non-perishable food items, canned goods, and things like that. Each household who chooses to participate will fill this box. Those boxes will then be delivered to Nethercutt on December the 16th. And then we are working with some of the local churches surrounding Nethercutt. And we also have a senior living center very close to our school, as well as an apartment complex, which is very close to our school, that we are going to be talking to all three of those areas and finding out what community members, whether it be an elderly person, a homeless person, or whether it just be a family that maybe not even be attending Nethercutt, that we can support and give back in this holiday season. So I was just very impressed that the parents in Nethercutt are not only excited about what's going on with the school and being supportive, but they're also thinking about others, and they're also thinking about giving back to the community. So that just kind of really amazed me and overwhelmed me. And I'm sure that if we had time, every school probably has something amazing like that they're doing or that they've been thinking about. So I just wanted to share that as far as Nethercutt. And lastly, for our early childhood education opportunities at Nethercutt, we have been blessed to network with a program called Zumbinis. Many of you, if you were in tune with community education throughout the summer, we had a lot of free virtual programming that had been offered to the entire city of Flint. And Zumbinis is a program for our earliest learners. So the age group of students that can participate in Zumbinis are actually from 0 to 4. And so what happens is we have a Zumbinis instructor. Her name is Brianna Barnett. She is a certified Zumbinis instructor. What she does is she meets with our families virtually through Zoom twice a week, on Fridays at 10:30 in the morning and on Saturday mornings at 11. And she basically teaches a song and dance movement class for our early childhood education learning, that 0 to 4 group. It is a PAC time activity, meaning it is for the parent and the child to do together. And with that program, we were able to purchase all of the supplies. So for any families who are interested in joining us, you do not pay anything. All you need to do is to register, to sign up for the program. We have opened it up to Genesee County as a whole, so you don't have to be a Nethercutt family. You could be at any school and to join this. And that program allows students to continue to develop their social, emotional, and their social and motor skills. Because they get little instruments that they're able to play with and to dance with. They also get a song book, which is an actual book to read, and it also has a CD that goes with it, so you can play the songs and read the book with your student, even if you are not participating in the weekly sessions. You can do this outside of the weekly sessions to give your child just another boost. And as we've kind of heard with all of the presenters today, it is so important that as families, whether you are the mom, the dad, the guardian, the aunt, the auntie, the grandfather, the uncle, to really be working with our students individually and making sure that we put out that time with the students as well, because when they see us encouraged about their learning and doing things with them, they're more likely to learn. Once again, thank you so much for your time. I know that was a lot of information. You can contact me at any time at tblakely@crim.org. You can email me, or you can feel free to contact our main office at Nethercutt, and they'll make sure I get your message so that I can return a call to you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Blakely. That was a lot of information. And as soon as we're done with this meeting, I will be contacting you, because I had no clue about the whole Zumbini exercise. That sounds like a lot of fun. And to see it virtually, I'm pretty sure it's just amazing just to see families come together and see all the different squares on the screen and everybody's learning and playing together. So thank you for all those community resources. Lots of things going on at our friends over there. And we know that there are great things going on at all of our schools. So I have one quick update from Ms. Willemian Salter from Potter. She wanted to make sure that the Potter parents were aware that on Friday, December the 11th, from 3 to 5 p.m., Potter will be hosting for their families a holiday drive-through. Sounds like lots of holiday goodie bags for students and families. So please make sure, Potter families, you put that on your calendar. If there are any Flint Community School parents or families that need a little help, a little bit of extra love, please get in contact with your family engagement facilitators. Like Ms. Blakely mentioned, there are a lot of resources being poured into our students, our schools, our families, and we don't want anybody to go without, not just during the holiday season, but any time during the year. So make sure you are reaching out to your family engagement facilitators. If you need a little bit of extra help, if you have a question, you need a resource, not sure who to call, your family engagement facilitators will be more than happy to help you work your way through that. So as far as what's remaining left on our agenda, we want to make sure we hit on a community health update. We know that the numbers are rising with the coronavirus, so please make sure that you, for most updated recent information as far as testing sites information, make sure you go to the Genesee County Healthcare website. They also have a Facebook page. But this pretty much sums up our meeting. We've had an amazing meeting, but guess what? Like we mentioned at the very beginning, this is the double month meeting. So if you have a friend, a neighbor, another parent that missed out on the meeting this morning, guess what? We will be right back here at 5:30 this evening. So make sure you share this post, like this post, and you know what? Later on, when Michaela's feeling a little bit better, we're going to have another meeting. So we want everybody to continue to be safe. Tell your students to have an awesome day at school today, and we will see, hopefully we'll see all you all back at 5:30. Have a great morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.